Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Mai, and today's video is going to be a very special one indeed. It is going to be a Vancouver special, which if you don't know what that is, and most of you probably won't, the Vancouver special is a kind of architecture or type of house that was built quite frequently in the 60s and 80s in Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, and there was just kind of a huge influx of immigrants coming in, so there was of course a large increase in population very quickly, and the city needed a cheap and easy way to just maximize space and, build a lot of houses to accommodate for all of the new people. So the Vancouver Special was born, and if you've ever been to Vancouver, you will see just neighborhoods that have just rows and rows of these houses, and they're just a very important part of Vancouver history, and they're also just, I don't know, they look very cozy, and they're just family homes. So I thought it would be pretty cool to build them in The Sims and bring in a little bit of realism. And yeah, we are very close to finishing the floor plan here. They are known for being just very boxy, simple homes, so it was very easy to make the shell and the floor plan and everything. And since the lot actually ended up being a little bit bigger than I thought it was, I had picked the 30 by 20 lot specifically because I thought it would be a little bit smaller, but I guess it wasn't. I decided to use that extra space to add a little bit of a garage in the back, and I think that made it even more realistic, which is really great. So yeah, we are just going to be adding in all of these finishing touches that really just make the Vancouver Special a Vancouver Special. And one of those things is this very characteristic brick on the bottom, stucco on top. I absolutely love this look. I think it's so cute, and it's just like you see those two colors together, those two patterns, and you just know that it's a Vancouver Special. So that's pretty cool. And also the fencing at the front is something that I've seen in a lot of these houses, and since we didn't have a fence that looked exactly like this with the brick and the metal rods, I decided to make a custom one using the for rent fencing and pairing it with some brick posts from the Live Edit Objects menu, which if you've never explored the Live Edit Objects menu or never even heard of it, it is just a cheat that you can put in the game. You open the cheat bar pressing Shift-Control-C and put in bb.show live edit objects. Then you press the magnifying glass next to the search bar, and there you can find all of the live edit objects. So everything that the Sims team uses in just the rest of the world that Sims, it's not actually accessible in the regular menu. It is actually just for game makers. Then you can just kind of access all of those things. It really helps. There's a lot of items that just help make the build look a little bit more part of the world that it's in. And they also just have a lot of kind of extra items like those little brick posts that, I don't know, help you make some custom items that you won't find on the menu, which, I don't know, it's kind of nice in case you ever get bored of what you already have in the game. So it's just a really great way to expand your build and buy menu without having to go out and get some DLC or expansion packs or anything like that. So we have already done the wallpaper and flooring. I just did it off camera to make things go a little bit quicker, but we're using a base game tile for the entryway and then for the bathrooms and the kitchen as well. And then there's going to be carpeting throughout the rest of the house. And for the wallpaper, I've decided to use this kind of dated drywall from Basement Treasures, which is one of the kits that came out, I think, last year. And I just thought it was, I don't know, what I wanted for this house was for it to feel outdated. And this wallpaper does a great job of that. And I just used it throughout the entire house. Growing up, my room didn't have a different wallpaper or color even than the rest of the house. Then as a teenager, I convinced my parents to let me paint my room, but I just thought maybe it was probably a little bit more realistic to just have the same wallpaper, same wall color just throughout the entire house. And yeah, just kind of decorating it, making it look a little bit mismatched. I didn't want it to feel like, there was actually a decorator that came in and designed this whole thing. I wanted it to feel just a little bit, just a little bit mismatched, since these houses were made specifically for immigrant families, and Coming from an immigrant family, I definitely grew up with a lot of mismatched furniture, so I thought that it would kind of be cool to have that nice touch because, I don't know, making Sims houses always be like super matching and, I don't know, feel so manicured. It just never feels super natural. And I thought that it would be a little bit nice to make a house that actually looks like a home and not so much like a showroom. So I don't know, I'd love to know what you guys think, if you agree or if you prefer the more manicured houses, or I don't know, maybe a mix of both is probably the healthiest. Everything in moderation, right? And we're starting with the living room here, just right at the top of the stairs. Something that, again, is very characteristic of these houses is to have most of the living area be upstairs. Sometimes they are also multifamily homes where they have 2 living areas, upstairs and downstairs. But for this one, I just decided to put it upstairs and use the downstairs for like just extra bedroom space. But once we get down there, I will explain that if you want to download this build and make it a multifamily home, I have ideas for how you could do that. And yeah, I decided to make the living room out here and also put in a desk space with the family computer. Something that is very much reminiscent of my childhood is to have the family computer and yeah, just have it out here in the living area, in the living space. I decided to give them a flat screen and not like the boxy TV because, I don't know, I felt like this house in my head is like 2010, let's call it, or 2008 or something, where there's already some new technology and some new items, but it is still, I don't know, the rest of the house is still outdated. Like you can't really update the entire house all at once. And here we're just adding some shelving to kind of, I don't know, make use of this wall space, but I do end up changing it almost completely. Yeah, I changed it almost completely in post-production because it just, I don't know, wasn't really clicking, but I don't think I spend too much time on it right now. Yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think of this living room. It's definitely a little bit cramped, just because you have the stairs right there, but I don't know, I still think that it looks nice. I don't think that it's, yeah, I don't think that it's like a bad living room. I really like that couch from Basement Treasures as well, the armchair. And the actual like 3-seater couch that I used is from Base Game. It's an unlockable item through the Tech Guru career, I believe. But here in the kitchen, we started off a little bit rough because I had put in like a tiny balcony off to the side here, and it was kind of messing with the floor plan. So instead I removed that. And also I'm using these awnings from the Cozy Bistro kit all around the house. I just thought that they were really, really cute. And yeah, I have seen these on Vancouver specials, so I thought, I don't know, it adds a little bit of decoration on the outside, and then it also just, I don't know, it just looks cute. But yeah, we fix it though by removing that little balcony. We still have some trouble because of this kind of, I don't know, the window placements made it a little bit difficult to put in the appliances, but all in all, at the end of the day, I think it turned out fine. And yeah, I think it still looks good. It's just a little bit awkward over here to the side. The way that I try to fix it though is by adding some hanging utensils, just to kind of make it look a little bit more on purpose. It is probably a fire hazard in real life, but this is The Sims, so we're not really going to pay attention. And we're also just going to pretend that the exhaust fan is in that cabinet, even though because of all of the weird placements, it would look really awkward to actually put it in. And I'm trying to place these blinds over this long window the same way that I did on the shorter one, but they just weren't working. So instead, I think I end up using some Parenthood ones, which look way more natural. And yeah, also just adding in all of these extra little items, using that dishwasher from For Rent. And I do gotta say, I really like the way the cabinets look. I think that they look really unique. Obviously, cabinets aren't functional anyways, so, you know, why not have a little bit of fun with it? And I do put the garbage can over next to that big cabinet right now, but later in post-production, I actually put it at the end of the island. I also really like those bar stools from For Rent that I put, I guess, is it an island? It's not really an island. But yeah, that looks cute. And for the coffee machine, because I didn't really like how it kind of hung over the edge of that corner piece, I instead placed it on a like island counter, and I just sized the counter down so that it would be invisible and just tucked it in. I don't know if it's still functional, but I mean, I don't know, Sims are always making themselves coffee and it's kind of annoying anyways, so a non-functional coffee machine for decoration isn't that bad. And we are working on the dining room. I had a very clear vision here. I really wanted to use those chairs. There's something about that wicker like seat that just screams like early 2000s, so I knew I had to put that in. And also a couple of hutches makes it look really cute, and over here a little bit of art and I think a hallway table. I do change it up a little bit in post-production because it is looking a little awkward right now, but yeah, later on with the extra decorations that I add, it does end up looking way better. And yeah, just adding some curtains using those little kind of shelves from I think it's the Desert Luxe. Desert Luxe kit as just to hide those curtain rods so that it looks like it actually extends. But here is our primary bedroom. It is going to be on the same floor as the general living space, and I think it looks really cute. Red is not a color that I use too often, but I just felt like, I don't know, I really wanted to use that bed, and it looks nice in here. And something else that I really like about this room is that dresser with the mirror. My mom growing up had a dresser, not like the dresser didn't look like that, but it did have that mirror over top of it, and I really liked it, and I thought it would be kind of nice to try and recreate it as kind of a nod to that dresser. I remember I used to always like stand on her bed and just like dance around in that mirror, and I always thought it was the cutest thing. We had gotten it, I think, from a neighbor who didn't need it anymore, and yeah, it was just kind of falling apart. I remember the drawers just like were barely holding on, and you kind of had to be careful every time you pulled them out because they were very much like about to break. But I don't know, I still always love that dresser, and I still think about it from time to time. But we are putting a lot more art pieces in here. I think in the general living area I've put mostly family photos, or at least like these picture frames that are meant for family photos, but in here I've decided to include a little bit more art. And yeah, just as a way to make this space a little bit, not romantic, but yeah, just make it feel a little bit nicer for the parents. And now we're moving on to the downstairs, and this is where we are going to find the 2 children's rooms. For this one, we are going to have 2 twin beds, and not these ones. We're going to change this room around quite a bit. But in this one, we're going to have 2 twin beds, and in the next one, we're going to have a queen bed for maybe like a teenager or something. And yeah, I really like this. So if I, like I had mentioned before, that this downstairs could easily be turned into like another kind of living space apartment unit. So whether you want to turn it into like an extra place to rent out, or if you want to have like your Sims extended family living here, it would be so easy to do. So obviously the bedrooms would stay as bedrooms because yeah, obviously like they're perfectly blocked off that way, and they're also like the same size as each other, so either one could be the primary bedroom or the, I don't know, kids room, or even like an office, whatever you wanted. I feel like they're pretty large. I think that they're 4x4, which isn't like small, but it's also not massive. But I think it still works to like fit everything that you need in here. And yeah, there's also that place off to the right is probably what I would turn, or I guess now it's at the top of the screen, is probably what I would turn into like a kitchen dining. And then kind of that hallway that connects the bedrooms, I would turn into like a living room if you wanted that. But now we are kind of finishing up what this room is actually going to look like. I didn't have a clear vision for it at the beginning, so it did take a little bit of time to figure that out, and definitely that kind of measuring chart over next to the door helped define it a little bit more, because I was like, oh, okay, these kids are going to be obsessed with space. And then I found this rug and remembered this swatch of it that kind of looks like planets, so I decided to change the beds into those ones that also have the planets on them in the solar system, and decided to give that, like, to make that the theme. Space and aliens and rocket ships and all of that fun stuff, which just feels very kid-oriented. And for the second bedroom on this floor, I've decided to turn it into kind of an artsy teenager's room. And when I found this yellow swatch for this bed, I also decided to give it a bit of a sunflower theme. And yeah, it just ends up looking really cute. This one, I think, thankfully I went into it with a bit more of a vision. The only thing that I couldn't figure out right away was the layout, because yeah, I just like wanted to add a lot of things, and then I also wanted the door to still stay symmetrical to the other door, so that was complicating things a tiny bit. But I do in the end choose to make the door be at the foot of the bed, so kind of facing the door, which maybe isn't the most comfortable, but I don't know. I don't know the feng shui of it all, but I think it still looks really nice, and it was a good use of space because we have room for the easel, we also have room for the wardrobe, and a little ottoman in case, you know, they have friends over, they want to hang out. And yeah, I think that it looks really nice. It would probably be a little bit awkward to have like the window be like, I don't know, looking out onto the street, but it would probably be good for sneaking out, which is fine. And that little table next to the easel is probably one of my favorite pieces, but I can never find it like in the gallery, or sorry, not the gallery, in the menu. So I always have to go into the blueprints in build by, and or like in the build mode part of the menu, and find it through there, through the painter career, because it's like an unlockable item. Anyways, I love adding it next to my easels. And here we are going to be making a second living room. And this one, I've decided to make it more of like, I don't know, it's a little bit cozier than the upstairs one. It's probably a little bit quieter, like it doesn't have as many activities, or I guess, I don't know if it doesn't have as many activities, but I do end up putting the smaller TV down here. And at the beginning, when I was furnishing this, I was making it quite matchy, which made it look a little bit fancier. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to have like a formal living room downstairs and then like, I don't know, the like more wacky one upstairs. Like maybe that doesn't really make sense, like the family room upstairs, living room downstairs. But then I kind of thought to myself, I doubt that the parents would want the kids to have like the fancy TV and have them like staying up late and watching movies, and yeah, just like have them not know that they're staying up late and doing that. So leave them the smaller TV and a quieter living room, even if it looks a little bit more formal, and have the wacky one be upstairs next to the dining room. If they're trying to, I don't know, host fancy people, then they can just come downstairs and ignore all the other kid stuff. But yeah, that area is probably where I would put the kitchen dining. And here in this hallway, which we will come back to, in this hallway, I would probably put the living room. Instead, I end up kind of making this like a kid's storage area, almost like a mud room, kind of just like where I imagine the kids go to get their poster board to work on their school projects, kind of things like that. I feel like with kids, even though this is The Sims and it doesn't actually have to be this realistic, but I feel like with kids, you do need just a lot of spaces with, I don't know, just supplies for them, and just a lot of storage, maybe places where like you'd keep all of their like childhood art or something. But yeah, I do end up changing this quite a bit. Mostly the color swatches I end up changing quite a bit in post-production, also with like a rug and everything, because I will try to place a rug while we're filming, but it just like won't look good. So actually, briefly, that like brown-red combination that we had just now is actually going to be the result. So you'll see it in the screenshots, but yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of struggling with swatches. This was a pretty big build and a lot of furnishing, so I wasn't fully, I was struggling to focus. As you can see, I am just finding things and trying to place them around the room, and actually not even staying in the room, just going to all of the other rooms as well. I was a little bit scatterbrained when I built this, but here outside of the bathroom, I also am trying to place like a cabinet, a little bit of storage, because since the bathrooms end up being really small, and I do furnish them off camera, you'll see them in the screenshots, but yeah, since the bathrooms are pretty small, I just kind of decide to try and find a little bit of storage to place outside. I do end up going with the one from Horse Ranch. This one was just feeling a little bit weird, and I don't know if it's normal to just have like towels just kind of out and about like that, but it looks fine, and the swatches just worked. But we're going to be, okay, it looks like we're starting with the garage, but we actually aren't, because I think I realized, yeah, that there's still a little bit of clutter that I needed to add in this room. Yeah, trying to find a rug. I end up going with one from Laundry Day, but I do that in post-production. And here next to the dresser, I do put in another coat hanger, and you might be thinking, what do you need another coat hanger for? But I imagine that that one is specifically for the kids' coats, just so that, you know, the other coat hanger just doesn't get full of stuff. Yeah, when I was a kid, we had multiple places to hang up our coats because we just had so many. And I feel like with 3 kids, we were only 2, but with 3 kids, you're going to need more. And yeah, we're going to be working now on the garage, the laundry area, and we do have 1 car parked inside the garage, and then we're going to have another car parked out just like in the driveway. And of course, we had to add a basketball hoop. I don't think that you can have a family home without having a basketball hoop right outside the garage. We had one at the end of our driveway. I'm pretty sure every house that I lived in, every house on my block that I lived in had a basketball hoop in their driveway. Even if the kids didn't play basketball, it was just kind of like rite of passage, having one out there. And I also place a cooler and an exercise machine and some bikes around. And I love these chairs from For Rent. They're probably some of the greatest things that have ever been added in the game, like the most realistic, I don't know, I really love them, most realistic chairs ever. And I love how they also have like a kind of like dusty, dirty swatch as well. It's just so perfect. And I do kind of place them all over the house, or not the house, but at least like the backyard. And we are trying to furnish this little patio area, and of course using those chairs. I end up choosing this table from the Outdoor Retreat game pack, I think, because it's like a folding table, and that just felt right for this space. And yeah, starting a little bit on landscaping as well. There isn't like a lot of heavy landscaping, it's just like a very large lot with a lot of green space, so there are quite a few trees, and I put in a lot of hydrangeas. I really do love hydrangeas, both in real life and in The Sims. I think that they look great, and yeah, I don't know, they kind of like just add a little bit of life. And also here we are adding some lighting and these low-lying pale flowers, which are always my favorite to place around to make things look a little bit more overgrown. But yeah, I'm just trying to find some more activities to place out here too. I end up choosing this monkey bar like set thing, monkey bar piece. I don't really know what we call it, just I place the monkey bars, and yeah, just have some more activities. I also end up putting hopscotch in, which is from the For Rent expansion pack, but I do that in post-production. And oh my goodness, did you see how the build changed when I started with terrain paint? I love terrain paint, but yeah, it just like changed everything, especially in this one. You could like you could notice that this was nothing without the terrain paint. But here you can see just there's so much grass out there, and I don't even know what to do with it. It's too much. I also put in a lot of hoses around. I don't know why I put so many, it just felt right. But yeah, adding in some more hedges here in the front yard because we just have a lot of green space, and what are we gonna do with it all? I guess it does give some use to the hoses though, which is nice. And yeah, here we are trying to make this driveway look a little bit more, I don't know, filled in. It's looking very blank right now, so I decided to put in just another car, this pickup from the Live Edit Objects menu, and it's like a base game one too. Oh yeah, and I changed the color of the van. I just decided to pick that red one because my mom really likes red cars, so I thought I'd do that as a nod to her. And yeah, I decided to add that same fencing that we have in the front yard here in the backyard, like in the driveway. I don't know, I just thought it was a great way to kind of tie the two in now that, yeah, since we have that space. And I think also since the wallpaper on the garage is different from the wallpaper in the rest of the house, then it was, I don't know, a great way to tie those two in. But adding some more hedges, some more terrain paint. I do even end up doing more landscaping in post-production. So yeah, it was a lot of landscaping. It was definitely more than I was expecting. But now we're just gonna furnish a little bit this like upstairs balcony. And oh, one of my favorite things that I did in this entire build is add these window boxes hanging off the balcony. These are my favorite. I'm gonna be doing this again, and I end up doing it on the other balcony on the other side as well. I think it makes it look so perfect. And we are at the screenshots now, and I am so incredibly proud of this build. It ended up looking even better than I thought it would. I mean, all of the little details that I added from the landscaping to the awnings, I think it just ended up looking so amazing and even better than what I envisioned. I just love this little entryway with that balcony, all the balcony flowers and all the sunflowers that I put in the front yard. And here's our entryway, super, super simple. I feel like in like day-to-day life, it ends up getting filled with a lot of items. So yeah, I think that it was fine keeping it a little bit simple. And here we have our downstairs, our hallway. This is the final look. Like I said, we ended up going with that brown and the red. I think it totally warmed it up, and I really like that it matches that laundry day rug. I mean, this is just such a simple space, but it ended up looking so, so great. And here we have our downstairs living room. I ended up adding that stereo behind the couch. Great way to fill it in, and also to just like add another little activity to do. I also warmed up. I made the woods a lot darker just to make it a little bit cozier. And here's our bathroom. The downstairs and upstairs bathroom look exactly the same, but that's pretty much what they look like. And here we have our kids' room. In here, I just added a little bit of extra clutter on that dresser, and I also cluttered up that wall with a lot more posters and some school drawings that were just from the hidden objects menu. But yeah, I really like that I went with the space theme and with the green and the purple. And here we have our teenagers' room. Yeah, just added some more art pieces around. They are an artist, so we're gonna want to put some art here, and I think I didn't really do much else. Yeah, I kept it simple. Yeah, I put that kind of tapestry from high school years behind the wardrobe. And here we have our upstairs living room. I did change the art on the wall behind the stairs. I decided to do that gallery wall instead of the picture frames, and I think that it looks way better. And yeah, I really like all the little clutter that I added. And here we have our kitchen. I actually added a couple of those like little kind of growing plants from, I think it's like the Blooming Kit or the Greenhouse Haven something kit. I think that it looks really cute to imagine that they're trying to grow some stuff there next to the big window. And yeah, I just love how realistic this all looks. I really like that ottoman that I added in between the two hutches. And I also really like those plates, those decorative plates on the wall, and even the chandelier. I'm not really a chandelier girl, but I think that it was a really great touch to put that in here. And yeah, I just love all the little decorations, all of those little details that make it look that much more lived in and that much more real. I really like it when my Sims houses end up looking like real houses and not just like, you know, just fake builds, like something that you'd never see in real life. Although, you know, a good mix of both. But yeah, I like the red that I put in the bedroom as well. That just kind of ties into the red from the outside. And here we're going to be seeing all of our outdoor spaces, our patios, and our balconies, and of course our backyard with that adorable hopscotch for the kids. I put one both on the driveway and in this back patio. But yeah, here we have our garage, and it's very full of stuff. Honestly, in real life, it would probably be way more cluttered, but it's The Sims. Let's try to keep it a little bit simpler and make things actually a little bit more accessible. But these are going to be the last few spaces we see. We've finally seen everything. I'm so happy with how this turned out, and I'm so excited to hear what you guys think. But I hope you enjoyed this build as much as I did. Bye buds, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Comment and share with your friends. Talk to y'all soon. Bye!